I am Cam Rogers. Check me out on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99. There's the rundown for Case Keenum. I am now looking at the top destinations for Teddy Bridgewater because, of course, he is likely going to walk into free agency. Here's a look at what is still to come here in the program. Again, final word later today. Jerry Jones versus Roger Goodell. What is the latest with that saga? I'll let you know. Stay tuned for that. Let's get into number 5 for Teddy Bridgewater. All right. Because I am an authentic person, I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I really don't know if there is a perfect, seamless fit here for Teddy Bridgewater. The injury uncertainty scares me. The lack of real football reps during the regular season concerns me. But I'm going to give it a shot anyway. And be sure to come at me in the comments section if I am just sounding like a complete idiot, because many times YouTube commenters do that anyway. Denver checking in at number 5. And we could put Denver on many lists out there for free agent quarterbacks. Again, talked about it with Case Keenum. Kirk Cousins is priority number 1. And I think Teddy Bridgewater and John Elway making some sort of relationship together, I think it's possible. But the question for me is, does Elway want to risk the pickup of Teddy Bridgewater? Because we know who Elway is. He wants to win now. He looks at the situation with Denver, and he sees a quality championship team, a championship defense, 2 quality wide receivers in Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas, an offensive line that is likely to get better via draft and via free agency, a running back in C.J. Anderson that has shown very good flashes in recent years. It's just that hole at quarterback. And does Elway want to bring in a guy with a really bad injury in his history, cement him as the starter in week 1 of 2018, and then perhaps see the risk really unfold during the regular season? I think Teddy Bridgewater is far down on Denver's priority list. I think it's Kirk at number 1, Case at number 2, followed by Baker Mayfield via the draft, selecting at number 5 overall. And then at number 4, maybe Teddy Bridgewater. So Denver Broncos checking in at number 5. David in the comments section, Teddy would fit in Arizona. That's about it. Well, David, you must have some sort of crystal ball or something, or maybe you looked at my script. I don't even know. We got the Arizona Cardinals checking in at number 4 as a possibility for Teddy Bridgewater. I think it would be a really intriguing destination. Again, appreciate the comment there. You got David Johnson, talked about him with the Case Keenum reasoning, and I think Teddy Bridgewater, David Johnson, 1-2 punch, be pretty darn fun to watch. Actually, I think it'd be really good for the Cardinals fan base to see Bridgewater and Johnson coming back. And look, I think it'd be the feel-good story of the year in 2018 if both those two play really darn well. Both of them with grueling injuries, coming back, comeback players of the year, if you will, getting it done. So this is more likely than, say, the Denver Broncos, because I feel like the Cardinals have less options and leverage to grab a quarterback via free agency and via the draft. I already talked about how the Cardinals are selecting number 15 overall. Not an optimal spot to get a top-tier quarterback prospect. And then in terms of salary cap, well, there are other teams that are in way better position in that regard. You got the Jets, the Browns, etc. All can really give free agent quarterbacks a blank check and say, all right, guys, what do you want? So where will Teddy Bridgewater play in 2018? Let me know in the comment section. So we got the Arizona Cardinals at number 4 as a potential for Teddy. And I said he would be fun to watch. Apparently, Jeremy disagrees. Did you just say Teddy is fun to watch? Yeah, I mean, I did. I mean, he can be an effective quarterback. And we haven't seen him in a couple of years, by the way, Jeremy. So, you know, who knows what we can expect in 2018. So I do understand your reasoning here. But I think he would be fun to watch. I think he'd be especially fun to watch in Arizona playing for Mike McCoy and with Larry Fitzgerald at wide receiver and David Johnson at running back. Just saying. But hey, to each his own. Appreciate the comment, and thank you for watching the show. Let's get into team number 3 here, the Cleveland Browns. So they are literally going to be in the running for anybody. Like, they are desperate. They do not want to trot out Deshaun Kaiser week 1, 2018 to be their starting quarterback. So I think it's likely they go Cousins or to the draft, of course, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, etc. But there's also the scenario where Cleveland could go quarterback, then Saquon, 1 and 4, and still go with a quarterback via free agency. So that would create some really fun storylines during training camp, right? Let's say Cleveland drafts Darnold, and then they grab Saquon at number 4, and then they sign Case Keenum or Kirk Cousins or Teddy Bridgewater. Talk about the storylines during training camp, OTAs, etc., in terms of the quarterback battles and then how well Saquon Barkley is playing in Cleveland's offensive system. I don't love the pairing here between Teddy Bridgewater and offensive coordinator Todd Haley. And again, like I said at the top of this segment, I'm not really sure if there is a perfect fit for Teddy Bridgewater. I think it's just going to have to be one of those scenarios where our team is going to have to basically make a leap of faith and say, all right, Teddy, I have faith. I think you can do it. And, of course, they're going to have to get some sort of insurance, whether it's a quarterback via the draft, etc. But I think it's going to have to be one of those deals. But I have Cleveland at number 3 here. I think Hugh Jackson will still give Deshaun Kaiser a chance to be the starter, but I'd expect a rookie QB and some sort of free agent to come in for Cleveland. Maybe it is Teddy Bridgewater, so the Browns are at number 3 here. Let's go to number 2, the Buffalo Bills. So my suspicion is the Bills will also look everywhere for quarterback options, Teddy Bridgewater included, and I think this could be a hot take, maybe a lukewarm take, but Teddy Bridgewater is an upgrade from Tyrod Taylor. I think he is a better quarterback than Tyrod. Tyrod has a very low ceiling. I think Teddy has a higher ceiling than Taylor. And look, the Buffalo Bills may not even have Tyrod on their roster by the time the 2018 regular season comes around. And signing Teddy won't mean the Bills are done either. I think they could use their draft capital to move up in that first round and grab Josh Rosen. And then you have a quarterback battle in OTAs and training camp between Teddy Bridgewater, the veteran, the feel-good story coming off the injury, and Josh Rosen, the guy that apparently isn't a great leader and evidently didn't want to play for the Cleveland Browns, and now refuting that report, of course. But it would be a fun storyline for Buffalo Bills fans out there, because I think either way, you're in good shape. I think Teddy Bridgewater would be a good quarterback for the Buffalo Bills because the situation is there. Kind of like with Case Keenum, the same logic. Good offensive line. You can run the football effectively with LaShawn McCoy. You got a good wide receiver in Kelvin Benjamin. Didn't show much last year, but I think he will improve. You have Charles Clay as well as tight end. He's a potential salary cap casualty. But I think Buffalo could be an interesting spot there for Teddy Bridgewater. So I think even a likely scenario would be Rosen and Teddy together as we head into OTAs and training camp. Stay tuned for that. But the Buffalo Bills check in at number 2. Let's go to number 1 now, the New York Jets. And let me say this. The Jets have a ton of work to do on offense, but I think Bridgewater would be a nice fit for offensive coordinator Jeremy Bates there. The Jets will be firmly in the Kirk Cousins hunt, and many teams will be. The Bills, Broncos, Cardinals, I go on. But I think the Jets, I mean, there's obviously the scenario where they lose out on Case Keenum and Kirk Cousins, and maybe they don't want to re-sign Josh McCown, so they bring in Teddy Bridgewater to be their guy, and maybe they draft a quarterback in that first round as well to kind of compete with Teddy. Look, no team is going to sign Teddy Bridgewater and say, okay, he's going to be our week 1 starter. It's not going to be a Kirk Cousins kind of situation. So a team that signs Teddy is likely to go with a quarterback in the draft too. You've probably picked up on that because I mentioned this a couple times with the Buffalo Bills and the Cleveland Browns, etc. So I got the Jets as the top spot.